One of the biggest topics surrounding Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart, at least in regards to the fandom, is Rivet, another Lombax. But the thing is, she is not the only Lombax we have seen besides Ratchet. She's not even the only female Lombax we have seen. The first being Angela Cross. Was she a Lombax has been a question within the fandom for some time. But to keep it short, she is 100% a Lombax if you do a little research. I believe even Insomniac Games has stated within the live stream that yes, she is a Lombax. The reason why it was a question is because she has no tail, and the reason given was female Lombaxes simply don't have them. But then we have our girl Rivet. But I feel like the tail almost takes up too much focus, because besides that, Insomniac Games has pretty much changed the design of what we think a female Lombax would look like, at least going by the one we have seen thus far. Rivet herself, as far as design goes, is pretty much Ratchet, but with a slightly edgy modern design, a robot arm, and bushy tail. Angela, however, is noticeably much taller than Ratchet, who is about 5'1" officially, which is at least short compared to Angela. I mean, look at this poor fella's feet. They don't even hit the ground here. Anyway, Alister Azimuth, another Lombax, is a good bit larger and taller than Ratchet, but compared to the rest of the males as seen here, they are, even though they are slouching sitting down, they appear to be around Ratchet's height. Even Ratchet's father is around the same height. So why does Rivet look the way she does? It's simple. They wanted a character that was an inverse of Ratchet. One way is to simply make her into a woman of similar design. Angela is likely tall because even though she was comedic, even as the thief, they wanted the thief to be at least somewhat intimidating, and for her being a woman to be a surprise. Even though funny enough, both are kinda tiny compared to the 10-foot tall giants within this series. And to get it over with, another clear distinction between these two, I will do my best to go over this with the maturity this series and topic deserves. Angela has much more titty meat than Rivet. In fact, looking at Rivet, she seems to either just be very flat chested, the suit is keeping it pressed down like Angela's thief suit, or she just flat out doesn't have anything, which is what I would go with if not for Angela. Now to Rivet possibly being trans, which is always a touchy subject, and I notice the fandom seems to get upset whenever this is brought up. I personally don't think the possibility is crazy, but I don't think it's very likely. One is we likely would have known this early on and made a big deal. Another is someone that worked with Insomniac noted their surprise at seeing Rivet with a penis in fan art. Last reason is creating Rivet was, at least in part, was due to wanting diversity and one of the developers having a daughter, so again, I think we would have known this early on. Now before getting into the big reason, something that is different that I noticed, yet something that makes them kinda connect, is their hair. While different, they both have a top fur, while male Lombax simply do not. So it's clear thing to me that likely Lombax females have excess fur on top of their head. Angela has a huge ponytail and Rivet has a bit above her forehead. My thoughts are Rivet could have long hair or ponytail like that, but chooses to have this look. Okay, the most noteworthy difference is Angela does not have a tail. She is a Lombax, and it is mentioned that Lombax simply don't have them, but Rivet does. One speculation is simply that the newscaster was simply wrong and they're quietly retconning it. One popular theory is she lost her tail. How you lose a tail, I don't know, but the fans think that could be the reason for clumsiness. It sounds reasonable, but no. In unused audio, Azimuth mentions a clumsy girl she used to know.
Lapadia's a beautiful planet. You know, your mother went to school here. Caden and I came out here to visit her once, back when they were still dating. She and her friend had a place on the northern ridge. Now, what was her name? Delightful, pretty, but very clumsy. Ah, Lorna. Lorna Cross.
Lorna Cross, which we can reasonably assume is the mother of Angela Cross. So no, the clumsiness and lack of coordination does not come from a lack of a tail. She gets it from her mother. My in-universe theory is she could simply be another species of Lombax different from Ratchet and Azimuth, one that is simply taller and don't have tails, or Rivet universe's Lombaxes are simply different. Now the real reason, honestly, as one of the characters designers said, when it comes to Lombax lore, he simply doesn't care. And that likely goes for the lead writer Sam Maggs. Lore is much more of a thing for fans than the developers. And oh my goodness, looking for his comment after finishing this script, I just noticed he is the characters of victims guy Twitter has been dunking on recently. Well, anyways, according to game developer, Rivet's identity is simply not a part of this story. So yeah, to sum it up, Insomniac Games wanted to tell the story of an alternate dimension Ratchet, and the other small details don't matter. Rivet's gender and identity simply won't play a huge factor, likely due to not wanting to confuse new fans, because as stated in this article, they want it to be enjoyed by the broadest audience possible. Well, those are my thoughts at least. This video is longer and a bit more sillier than I hoped it was going to be, but I hope you enjoyed it, and please remember to like, sub, and hit the bell.